guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about filming this video right now. I'm literally can't wait. I feel like half the reason why I made a YouTube channel was to talk about some of the things that mean so much to me and are now like part of who I am. So yes, today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about transitioning to vegetarianism. So if you want to hear about my journey first, I've been a vegetarian since October 5th, 2015. So I've been a vegetarian for over 7 months now. And some people are going to be like, that's not that long at all. Like, you can't even talk about this lifestyle. And you're right. I feel like, how did I not do this sooner? 7 months, that's it. I've been on this earth for 20 years and I ate meat for that many years. Like, that's pretty sad. But, you know, I have learned and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon, if ever. So, yeah, I just want to let you guys know how my journey's been so far, and I'm sure I will keep you updated. But 7 months. So, I feel like the hard part is probably over. If you want to hear a funny story, I was actually out to eat the other day, and I ordered a veggie burger from the restaurant, and I remember I said it really quickly, oh, and veggie patty please. So I didn't know if the girl for sure heard it, but when I got my food I was so hungry, and I grabbed my burger, take a bite, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know what to do. I was chewing it, and I was like the guy I was with, I didn't want to make a scene because that's super embarrassing, but I was like, this is not a veggie patty, and I didn't know what to do, and I was chewing it, and I was honestly about to start having a mental breakdown. I was like, no. And I told him what happened. I was like, I don't think this is a veggie burger, and he was like, what? And grabs it, takes a little piece, eats it, and he was like, Tori. I'm like, what? So freaking out. I literally want to spit out what's in my mouth. I'm freaking out, and he was like, this tastes like cardboard. I was like, what? This tastes exactly like meat. How could this not be meat? And he was like, this tastes like cardboard. So I feel like what I'm trying to say here is that my taste buds have literally already started changing. What I used to crave and think of as meat, I now crave veggie burgers and think that that veggie burger was meat. You honestly forget what chicken tastes like and all of that stuff. And I no longer even make the conscious decision of what I'm going to eat because I just know that's what I get at a restaurant now. Those are no longer things that are going to be in my life. And for some people that may be sad, but it's so much smaller compared to what it is. And that brings me to my first point. So when you transition to vegetarianism, it cannot be forced. And I am going to say that 100 more times. It can't be forced. Because there's someone who's a vegetarian in your life, or someone who's vegan in your life, someone you might know, someone on your Facebook or whatever, they cannot force you into this lifestyle. It won't work. If they force you into it for a little bit, you're gonna stop eventually. And I know this personally too. When I was in high school, I had a lot of friends who were vegans, actually, not even just vegetarian, vegans. And they would make comments about what I was eating, and I was still eating meat at that point. And it didn't matter to me. I just brushed them off. You honestly get offended when if someone's trying to force their views on you, you don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter. So it's not something that can be forced. If someone takes away those things from you and you're not ready to stop eating them, it's not going to work for you, and it's not going to be a part of your lifestyle, and eventually you're going to go back to the way you were eating before. Then comes the question, should you go vegetarian? People ask me this all the time, should I go vegetarian? Is this actually going to be a good lifestyle? What's the benefits of this? Should I do this? And that's the first thing, is you have to educate yourself. And I have talked to so many vegetarians and vegans, and we all do it for different reasons. And if that reason for you is just that you really like animals, and animals in general, not just not just being oh, I love pigs. I just love the thought of another living being, and so I don't want to take that away from them. Or you do it for environmental reasons, you do it for health reasons, you do it for literally, there's like, I could probably list 100 reasons of why you should go vegetarian, you should go vegan, but you have to pick one and keep that with you and remember that reason every single time that you get tempted and want to stop or try something else. And I just want to say, I have not actually ate a piece of meat in this entire 7 months. I haven't deviated at all, and I know some people find in the first couple months that there's temptation everywhere, and I did too, and I honestly thought for a couple seconds, like, here and there, that I was going to eat meat, and if you do, it's not the end of the world. You haven't, like, it doesn't mean you have to quit forever. You just have to go back and be like, okay, remember why I started. Just remember why I started. Remember why I'm doing this. Remember all the things that I taught myself. There's so many good blogs, good documentaries, good articles, everything like that about why you should do it. So just pick a reason. I'm sure you guys already know some of the reasons, just because I feel like vegetarian and veganism has become a trend, and it's really big for a lot of people now, and a lot of people are very outspoken about it. But don't let those people force you. You have to choose yourself, is what I'm saying for the first point. So another thing that I would say is to just, and you'll get better at this, but when people are doubting you, especially strangers, like if your friends are doubting you, you just need to stop being their friend and talking about it with them. But when strangers are doubting you, there's so many sayings that people like to say to vegetarians, and you need to learn some comebacks to them. When people say, how do you get enough protein in your diet, stuff like that, here are some comebacks that I say to people. When people say, you have a protein deficiency, how are you getting enough protein? First of all, there are so many vegetables, and like even tofu substitutes have so much protein in them. And the one thing that I say to people, when they say that to me, I'm like, excuse me, how many people do you know that are dying of a protein deficiency? Like dying, like that have died. And they're going to be like, no one. And I'm going to be like, and how many people do you know that are dying of colon cancer and heart disease that are directly related to red meat consumption? And they're going to be like, because they probably know someone that has had colon cancer or cancer in general or heart disease or even obesity that was related to overconsumption of meat. Just want to put that out there. And when people say it's in our blood, it's part of our culture, we've been eating meat as the human race for hundreds of thousands of years, who are you to tell me it's wrong? What I say to that, and this one's kind of a long explanation, so either just say whatever, go away, you're wrong, or you can explain this whole thing. And when I think about a carnivore, I think about something that's vicious and a lion and something that, like, okay, so when I look at a strawberry or something that's really like delicious, my mouth will start to salivate. And when your mouth starts to salivate, that's when you know that it's something that is really good for you. When you look at an animal, like, your mouth does not start salivating. You're not like, oh my god, I just want to rip my teeth into it to shreds and like have everything like that. Just the look of an animal ripped open apart with their meat coming out in their blood, like that does not make you salivate. That is something that a carnivore would salivate over, and that's why I don't believe that we are meant to be carnivores. I believe that those animals do not have the same instincts that we do. It's their instinct to do that, but we don't want to go up to an animal and see a pig, and the first thing we want to do is cut it and eat it. Like, that's not the last thing that you want to do. It actually hurts my soul, personally hurts my soul, to look at an animal and realize that it's gonna die so that someone else could eat it. Like, that's not part of our instinct. That's not part of our culture. It shouldn't be. Like, we have to disconnect our love to animals in order to eat them. And that disconnect for me is no longer there. So I can no longer do that. And I don't believe that's something I can do. So if you explain that to them and the whole salivate thing, then you'll maybe get there a little bit of an understanding of like what I'm talking about or what we're talking about as vegetarians when we say that it's not necessarily part of who we are as human beings. It's really not. So when you're actually starting to transition into vegetarianism, some people decide right then and there, okay, I'm going to be a vegetarian now, and that's kind of what I did. I was literally eating meat for like every meal, and then October 5th, I was like, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. I like came upstairs from my bedroom on October 4th, and I had like all these tears in my eyes, and the people that I was living with were like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, couldn't even catch my breath, like crying, like actually full on tears. I was like, I cannot eat meat anymore. And that's all I said. And they were like, what? I had watched so many documentaries and I just was no longer okay with the things that I was seeing. And I hadn't even seen some of the most gruesome stuff at that point. It was just like basic, like PG-13 documentary stuff. Like if you actually look into it, there's so many more harsher things that I've now seen that I'm like, holy crap. Like, and I cried for that entire night. And I cried for a while. And I was like, I can no longer do this. And the more I looked into it, the more I was like, every reason behind it, I was like, okay, this is going to work for me. I didn't do it for health reasons at first. I honestly did it for the animals. So when you're actually making your transition, I would say stock up on substitutes. And what does that mean? Okay, so if you love to eat BLT and you eat a BLT every single day, or you eat a chicken sandwich every single day, you can still do that. Just use soy, tofu, and TVP substitutes. So personally, I love to have chicken with lettuce, tomato, and like a bun. And now what I did for lunch just the other day, I was craving it so bad, I used this chicken that my mom bought, meatless chicken, and made the exact same sandwich that I used to eat. And if that's what you need to do at the beginning of your transition, because those are what you're used to eating, then do that. There's so many good, like, meatless meatballs for me. I don't think I will ever stop eating those. They are so similar to regular meatballs, and I cannot eat pasta without meatballs in it. Like, that's the best part of pasta for me. So to this day, I still buy meatless meatballs and I use them, and they're just as good, and no animals were killed in the making of the meatballs. So they're good for you to eat. And if you go to any of your grocery stores, like if you don't know where the vegan or vegetarian section is, like just ask someone. But normally it's in the section where the fruits and stuff is, and all you'll find there is really good. Like companies are getting so much better at making good like tofu substitutes. And TVP is texturized vegetable protein. So that's also something that is a substitute. That's actually at a lot of restaurants too. So if you see TVP, then you know you're good to go. Another thing that I would recommend for someone who wants to transition to vegetarian is to start telling people. Like, do not keep it a secret. And people are like, oh, those are the most annoying, like when they just start and they feel like they have to have it in every single conversation. It'll help you, honestly. When I became a vegetarian, I announced it to everyone in my life, and if they're good people in your life, if they're supportive people in your life, then that's who you should be telling. If people give you a negative response, you honestly don't need those people in your life, because if you are making this good life change, like how can someone say something bad about it to you? Like if it's your life, they should do nothing but support you. And even I, at the beginning, had people like that were my friends or that I was living with that were like, oh my God, like did not want to hear about it, did not want to hear about my struggles or just me being vegetarian in general, like trying to find stuff to eat. Like I wanted to talk about it, and people in my life like did just not want to talk about it, and they should have been there to support me. And just like any good friend, you should be there to support them through anything. So the reason why I say tell people is because then you will be held accountable. Like if you just decide one day, oh, I'm going to go vegetarian, and then a week into it, you haven't told anyone, no one knows, and they haven't really noticed that you're not eating meat, for you to just take a piece of meat and eat it, no one's going to know. And no one's going to be like, what are you doing? Or no one's at the grocery store is going to be like, why are you buying that? So if you tell people, then they're going to be like, hey, I thought you said you weren't doing that. And you're going to be like, you're right. And at least you have someone else there to help you and to tell you, be like, no, you said you weren't going to do that anymore. And you're going to be like, okay, you're right. I'm not going to do that anymore. So the next thing I have to say is to tell people and to find support systems in your life that are going to be encouraging of you, not discouraging, encouraging only. Another thing that I just want to say is you have to like find little sentences just that you can use, just be like, say it over and over in your head. And something I like to say to myself, like when I'm really craving meat and I want to eat meat and stuff like that, I say to myself, my taste buds are not that important. My taste buds are not that important. Your taste buds are not that important. There's so many other things that are more important than your taste buds. Your taste buds are not that important. And I literally just repeat that to myself because it's true. The environment's more important than how my taste buds are. The animals that are dying are so much more important. You just have to find a saying like that. Another one I wrote down is, if everyone else can do it, or all these people can do it, so can I. If all these people can do it, so can I. If all these people can do it, like the amount of vegetarians that are in the world, so can I. So you just have to find something that's going to give you strength, that's going to give you motivation, and literally the taste buds one, I say all the time, like my taste buds are not that important, okay? And I feel like that's a good diet thing in general, like your taste buds to eat a pound of candy is not as important as what that will do to your body health-wise. But yeah, say something like that to yourself and keep it in your brain for when you need it. So another thing that I think is important when you're transitioning to vegetarianism is to go to vegetarian restaurants. And you're like, what are you talking about? There's a lot of restaurants that don't cater very well to vegetarians, but if there is one in your area, go to it. Not only will it give you a good atmosphere, like around yourself, like if you surround yourself with people that are doing this too, it's obviously going to help you and you're going to go there and you're going to feel very proud that this restaurant was made for people like you. But it will give you good tips and like ideas on what to make yourself. So I, on the beginning of my transition, had a restaurant where I ordered this mushroom sandwich that had mushrooms, sauteed onions on a baguette, and it was so good. And I had never thought to like use mushrooms as a replacement for my meat. And when I did that, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I started making that at home all the time. So go to vegetarian restaurants, look at the menus, see what the ingredients are that they're putting into it. Order a bunch of different things that you've never tried before, and then maybe you're going to find some staples that you can now include in your diet that are going to replace the things that you used to eat that were like meat. So after seeing that this video is 20 minutes, I feel like I'm going to wrap it up. I have a couple other things that I usually say about the topic, but maybe we'll leave that for another video. I'm sure there will be videos coming your way of like what I eat in a day video, like what does my diet consist of, just stuff like that. I am currently on a bit of a weight loss journey, so maybe I'll keep you updated on that as well. And if you are trying to lose weight, the best way to do it, I feel like, is being a vegetarian, because you're taking out so many high-calorie foods from your diet. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for hearing my rant. Hopefully you guys made it this far. We're not sure, but if you did, thank you so much. Hopefully this gave all of you guys something to think about. And overall, I hope that even if you just walk away with this video with, even if you're not going to be vegetarian yourself, even if you just start to understand a little bit why vegetarians do it, that's important. But just to keep that thought in the back of your head when you eat your burger tonight about everything that I said to you. So yeah, and that's it for me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment on your opinion behind everything. Please, no hate comments, because I'm not here to argue. But yeah, please subscribe if you want to hear more from me. And I love you guys. Hope that you have a good day or night, depending on when you're watching this. And we'll talk to you soon.